Hello and welcome to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi, and I'm excited that you are here with us today. Today we're going to be talking about the components of coaching as it relates to the real estate industry, as well as some of the resources that help realtors be as successful as they are. Joining me live in studio, I have a phenomenal panel of women who are here to share with you their experiences, their expertise, their knowledge, and their wisdom. To my right, I have Monica D. Stone, who is a senior loan officer and realtor with Everwise Home Loans and Realty. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Welcome. To Monica's right, we have Tina Casen, who is a realtor with Exit Alliance Realty. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And to her right, we have Jessica Griffith, who is a broker associate with Engel and Volkers. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies, I'm excited about this episode because we're talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, coaching, and especially from a business growth perspective. But before we get to that, I'd love for our audience to get to know a little bit more about who you are. So I'd love for you to share just a little bit about your background, about your experience, what makes you as awesome as you are. Monica, we'll start with you.
Well, as you know, I'm a senior loan officer and realtor, and I sort of put those together to give more options for people when I work with them for planning, for home buying. So, yes.
Oh, it's amazing. That's amazing. Giving your clients more options is what we do. That's part of service, right? The more we can provide, the better off it is for our clients, right?
Yes.
I absolutely love it. Tina, what about yourself?
My name is Tina Casen, and I actually have been a realtor for almost 14 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was in the Air Force, and during that, I was in the Air Force for 33 years.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service, by the way.
Thank you. It's my honor. I try to carry the same service over to my real estate career and to be able to honor and serve those who I'm helping.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jessica, what about you?
My name is Jessica Griffith, and I've been in the industry since 2000, so I grew up in the industry. I spent the first 7 years in mortgage and finance, and when the market crashed, I took that as an opportunity to transition into real estate, and I started working with foreclosure listings, transitioned into short sales, and now I work with attorneys on all different levels, so it's been really educational.
Educational. I like that. One of the things that I love about what you just shared is the opportunity that you saw when the wheels were falling off of an industry. I mean, a lot of folks lost everything when the market turned. And for those who have the foresight and enough vision to see opportunities, you can really do a lot of good for a lot of people. Thank you for your introductions. It's great to know all of you. I'd love to shift the focus now to coaching and mentoring. Right, we're all about helping the industry be better tomorrow than it is today, whether it is from an associate, a broker perspective, whether it's from a realtor perspective. I'd love to share your take and your perspectives on coaching and mentoring, specifically from the mindset of helping other realtors build, grow, and scale their own practices. All right, so Jessica, I'd love to start with you.
Okay. You know, I was really fortunate when I first started on the foreclosure side because I worked with a great mentor. She heard me on the phone one day, very young, and she took me aside and she said, you know, Jessica, you have the opportunity to teach these agents how to submit offers and how to work with the banks. And that's what we want to do. We want to care about how the agents feel on the other end of the phone. And I just thought, what a great opportunity that was.
Yeah, that's amazing. I absolutely love that. It always comes down to somebody being willing to pour into and invest into somebody else, right? I mean, you weren't asking for mentorship. You weren't asking for someone to coach you. You just had someone who was willing to invest the time into someone who was willing to receive it, right? Yeah. Tina, one of the things that I love about your story is the fact that you were a retired Air Force. And I imagine being an Army veteran myself, that you're bringing a lot of what you learned in the Air Force into being a great mentor and being a great coach, right? What do you see that crossover being as far as helping other realtors be successful and flourish and thrive?
You know, in the Air Force, we call it being a good wingman.
Oh, I love it.
I'm not sure if you know about the planes, you know, the jets, that they always have a wingman. And in the Air Force, that's very important. And it's all about mentoring and helping the others and making sure that you're a good wingman, whether it be you see somebody that's maybe had a little bit too much to drink, you come alongside them, you're the wingman. You can be a wingman on the battlefield. It's the same way in real estate, really, because, you know, it's not about only colleagues or only somebody in your office.
Sure.
You know, and that's also, you know, the greatest thing about Finance Women in Real Estate. We're all from different companies, and we all collaborate and we help each other and we mentor each other. We hold each other accountable, and that's really important.
Absolutely. I love the accountability that is created from a mentorship coaching relationship. You know, there's so much information out there, right? You can go to Google and find information literally on anything out there, but it's the execution where most people fail. It's in the execution, the application, that most people fall flat. And when you have a mentor or a coach who is kind of holding you accountable to growing and to being better tomorrow than you are today, that's when that true growth happens, right? Monica, what about your story? From a coaching and mentoring perspective, what are you seeing in the industry as it relates to helping individuals be better tomorrow than they are today?
I feel that trying to work together to make things happen and support each other, because it's very competitive.
Sure.
And people then sometimes have a different approach on their aggressiveness rather than, you know, bringing sugar with it.
Sure.
Vinegar. So it's leaving a good image for yourself and who you're representing, and then whomever you work with. I've worked with other agents to where it didn't end very well.
Sure.
And it's like, we're probably going to work together again one day or cross paths. Like, let's leave things good, you know, good impressions for sure.
So as you ladies are coaching and mentoring and really helping this industry flourish and thrive, what are some key things that you look for in those that you choose to mentor with? Like, what are some key aspects? There's something that your mentor saw in you when you were on the phone. There's something that you look for from a wingman in you know, military terms. There's something that you look for as it relates to pouring into. Like, what's that one thing that you look for as it relates to those that you choose to mentor? Jessica?
I would say somebody who's open.
Absolutely. Somebody who's open is important.
Yes.
Tina, what about yourself?
Desire. If they don't desire to be who they want to be, then how can you help them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Monica?
And on the same lines, willingness to learn, learning from experiences maybe I've had or have seen from others. Because like you say, you could read it, you know, on the internet or go through training programs, but it comes down to experience and then relating how it works in the long run.
It really does. And I think all three of those things are critical components of being coachable. Right? I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi. You've been watching The Finest Women in Real Estate. After this short commercial break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about their experiences in being coached themselves. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hello and welcome back to The Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi, and we are being joined again by some phenomenal individuals who are here to talk about the importance of coaching in the real estate industry. We're welcoming back Monica D. Stone. We're welcoming back Tina Casen. We're welcoming back Jessica Griffith. And joining us in this segment is Jim McLaughlin with Effective Action Consulting. Welcome back, everyone. So in the last segment, we talked a little bit about what we look for in a coach, what we look for as a mentor. What I want to do is shift the focus a little bit and talk about the importance of coaching and mentoring to you as it relates to the industry that you're in. So Monica, I'd love to start with your story. I know it's one of triumph. I know it's one of overcoming. Share a little bit about your journey of what it took for you to be here and the role of a coach or mentor in helping you get to this place.
I found when I first entered into being a real estate agent because I did mortgage prior to that.
Sure.
Before the ultimate crash, and then found my way back in. But the first company I was with was a very large company, and I felt like I was lost in the mix a little bit. And then I went to a very small broker where I found I had no help at all. It was totally Goldilocks to find the right broker, and they talked me through things and made sure that I was really learning. If I asked a question, he would make sure I was finding the answer rather than just telling it to me. So he knew that I got it.
Great approach.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's the journey that I've had, and I still speak with him now. We communicate great. I just worked with a company now where I could do both loans and real estate. So
I love it.
We keep together chats.
I think that's one of the cool things about having a coach or a mentor is you build that relationship, right? That relationship is established, and no matter where you end up in the industry, no matter where you end up in life, that connection is always there. You can just pick up the phone, you can shoot a text message and say, I'm struggling with this. How do you get over it, right? Yeah. So Tina, the same question for you, right? Again, retired from the Air Force after 33 years. Again, thank you for your service. You're coming from an organization where you're constantly training, where you're constantly forcing yourself to be better tomorrow than you are today. What are you looking for in a coach as it relates to making yourself better for this current industry?
I look for in a coach, really accountability is the biggest thing.
Yes.
Right? Because they can tell you what to do. And if you're not doing it and they don't know you're not doing it and they're not holding you accountable, then how are you going to improve, right? So I look for experience.
Okay.
It's kind of like you go to a therapist. Sometimes you have to talk your way through things, and they can say, this is a better way to handle it.
Sure.
Right? And this is the easy way. Don't, take 10 miles around the block when it's only a 1 mile block, right? So I look for somebody that has experience, somebody that has integrity, because I'm not going to follow somebody that's making poor choices if I want to make great choices.
Yes.
Right? So patience, and really, like I said, somebody that will hold me accountable, because if I really want to change, I need that accountability.
I love it. And that's key, right? Accountability is really the key. That unlocks all the potential of an individual, period, right?
Absolutely.
So Jessica, before the break, you shared a story of a mentor of yours that just kind of overheard you on the telephone. They kind of poured into you. From your perspective, I'd love to ask the question around the importance of coaching in the real estate industry. How important is it to you to have a coach? How important is it to you to have a mentor? And why is it so important that you have those people in your life?
I think it's important to be seen for who we are.
Okay.
And I think that when we're in our business, right, there's this transition that happens as a real estate agent, because you have to go from working in your business to working on your business to grow. And if you don't have a coach, you're always going to be working in the business. And if you can't grow to working on your business, you can't help cultivate the next generation into that working on your business mentality.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And what a great segue, because at the end of the table, we have Jim McLaughlin with Effective Action Consulting. One of the things that Jessica just mentioned was the difference between working in your business versus working on your business. Now, as a business coach yourself, what are some of the things that you're seeing that could help realtors, that can help brokers work on their business instead of just in their business?
Well, certainly there's pipelining, right? There's always having to have that energy going into, what's coming down the road. How do I keep that pipeline full?
Sure.
Because if I'm focused on my business, and I think everybody deals with this to some degree, probably
absolutely.
yourself, right? We love what we do, but to have that opportunity to continue doing it, we have to be reaching out and looking out ahead and down the road. And there's so many dynamics in real estate, from the changing in interest rates, the changing technologies that are available, and then the accountability that keeps coming up in this conversation of how do I motivate myself when I don't feel like it?
Sure.
Right? So very key points.
One of the things that I love about having a coach or having a mentor is having those tangible, those real life tangible outcomes that you can point to as a result of being coached or as a result of being mentored. I'd love for you to share a tidbit of your success and what you attribute that, or how you attribute that to being coached or mentored, because all of you are phenomenal in your industry, right? So when you look at where you're at now, how has a coach or a mentor helped you get to where you're at today?
It's just keeping motivated, like Jim mentioned.
Sure.
Because there's so many factors involved. It could be even the time of year, nothing's going on, and
Sure.
checking in. And sometimes you have a broker that's not even checking in because they're quiet too.
Right.
So I've found, especially with the company that I'm at, I feel like I'm finally thriving, and this is usually a quieter time of year.
Sure.
And I think it's the busiest I've ever been. And I think it's because I'm motivated by them.
Right.
And given all the tools to work with people. And it shows in other ways. And my energy changes.
Right.
It puts me out there.
I think one of the things that I love most about what you just shared, Monica, is the idea that you are flourishing and thriving during a time where everybody else is kind of turned off. This is typically the season where the real estate industry kind of downshifts a little bit. But because of the coach, because of the mentor relationship that you have, you're actually flourishing and thriving through this time rather than turning off when everybody else is turning off.
Right.
And I love, again, having that tangible connection between a coach and a mentor to where you're at right now and the success that you're experiencing. Tina, what about yourself?
I came from a background where it was a lot of negative reinforcement.
Sure.
And it's so important to have a great mentor that isn't coming at you negatively and that is encouraging you and telling you who you can be and making you feel like, this is really possible. You've got a whole cheerleading squad behind you, sometimes even in the one mentor that you have. I think it's very important for everybody to have that person they can go to and that can say, hey, you know what? You did really great this time, and I think you could do a lot better, so let's do this and this. Sure. Right? Because we all can improve. We're learning every day.
Yes.
And having a mentor that can help you to get to that point, that goal, is very important.
And I think what's really cool about what you just shared is the ability to speak into someone's life, to have that truth, because accountability is worthless if I am scared about telling you the truth about your performance, about your execution, about your implementation, right? Same thing for you, Jessica. A tangible result of what you're experiencing as far as your success is concerned based on the coaching and mentoring that you've received to this point.
Ooh. Quadrants and scheduling.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Nothing is more tangible than quadrants and scheduling, right?
Yeah.
Would you care to expound a little bit?
So in quadrants, basically taking my business and breaking it up into 4 sections. I've got my administrative, I've got my financial piece, I've got my marketing piece, and I have my lead generation.
Sure.
Right? And then you take the lead generation, you break that up into 4 quadrants. Who am I going to work on Monday through Wednesday? Who am I going to work on Thursday, Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and what does that follow-up system look like?
Sure.
So just compartmentalizing everything so that it is manageable and there is a balance, because otherwise you get burnout.
Yes.
Right?
That's no fun.
No.
Jim, what about yourself? From a business coaching perspective, what are you seeing as an opportunity for not only these ladies here, but the entire industry to really start working in their business instead of on their business, having that mindset of building what they have versus being so stuck in the muck and the mire of the day-to-day?
Yeah. Well, what comes up for me is, there's a lot of chaos in the industry. There's a lot of chaos in the world.
Sure.
Right? And where we find a lot of comfort is when we can bring order to things, and the quadrants made me think of this. Oh,
yes.
Right? Like, what's going on? What is it that I can put order to, bring some predictability to? Because it brings a level of comfort, if you will, and predictability. And look, there's just stuff I'm not going to be able to manage.
Right.
There's stuff that's out of my control.
So what
can I bring order to, and then get myself moving forward?
Awesome.
Because that's what produces the results.
That's amazing. Folks, you're watching The Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi. We're going to pause for a short commercial break. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm going to drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely going to call a ride home.
First time I tried Vicodin, and it was laying around my mom's house. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hello and welcome back to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi, and joining me live in studio is Monica D. Stone. We have Tina Casen, Jessica Griffith, and Jim McLaughlin. We've been talking a lot about growth from the perspective of coaching and mentoring, not just being coaches and being mentors, but also being coached and mentored ourselves. One of the things that we love to share is what's coming up next for our guests as they appear on the show. Monica is actually the featured agent on the next upcoming episode of the Finest Women in Real Estate. Tina was featured as a cast member of the Finest Women in Real Estate's reality TV. Jessica is going to be hosting an episode of the Finest Women in Real Estate, and Jim is going to be hosting his own episode of Fire Up Connect. These are big steps for anyone. Being on national television, what does this mean for you as far as your growth is concerned? How is this helping you grow into a bigger, better version of who you are today? Monica, we'll start with you.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Tina when we started filming Finest Women in Real Estate, the reality show. And at that time, I was still going through my cancer battle.
Sure.
So that was my story, and it still is. And now it's rising up out of it and trying to build my business from there. Because, of course, it took a lull. I did work through it.
I can imagine.
But I'm here. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. You. Tina, what about yourself?
Myself, I was active duty Air Force at the time, and it was all about bringing about what the reality, it's a reality show, right? But it was the reality of realtors and what we go through. And, it's not always safe out there for women, right?
Sure.
So we showed what really could happen, and really did happen.
Wow.
In the life of a realtor. And being on television, being able to bring that awareness out to the community, and also to be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm part of the community.
Sure.
I'm with you. And taking that, that's something that's important for the rest of your life, not just your career.
Absolutely. So as a host of an upcoming episode of the Finest Women in Real Estate, how is this helping you grow in your current, as a current industry member?
So I'm on the board of directors for the Women's Council of Realtors, and
it's
helping me build those relationships with our strategic partners and help do video with them as well.
Awesome.
So growing that brand awareness.
Amazing. Brand awareness is important. Jim, what about yourself? Same thing. Hosting Fire Up Connect. What does this mean for you and your growth?
Well, it's an opportunity to expand the work that I do and really reach more people. In a venue with 74 million subscribers we're
Yes.
talking about here. So it's there's a lot of work to be done.
Sure.
To help make people more productive, to be able to serve the people that they are meant to serve, and it's a venue to expand that opportunity. So the growth is I don't know. We'll see.
We
right?
will
but
see.
The opportunity
we
is
will
there.
absolutely see.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
folks,
exciting.
it has been an honor and a privilege to have you on the Finest Women in Real Estate today. I absolutely love the conversation. Thank you so much for sharing. Your stories are inspiring and they're motivating, and I can't wait to see what next steps are for all of you. Folks, you've been watching The Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Kalaluhi. You can watch this episode and all of the episodes of The Finest Women in Real Estate on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV through our partner, EAN TV. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.